All right, today, amid just the blitz of headlines on what has been a gigantic news day following a gigantic news week, you might not have noticed the news today. You might not have seen the headline today that today a federal court blocked the Trump administration from cutting energy funding just for blue states. This is billions of dollars Congress appropriated for clean energy projects of various kinds all over the country. Trump administration decided, and they admitted this, they decided that just in blue states, just in states that didn't vote for Trump, they would cut all of that funding. They'd leave the funding in place in states that voted for Trump. They would cut it in states that didn't vote for Trump. A federal court today ruled that that is illegal and stopped the Trump administration from doing that. That ruling today came after another federal court today stopped Trump from shutting down a big offshore wind farm in Rhode Island and Connecticut. Trump's shutdown of that project, according to the courts today, was also illegal. And so yet another federal court blocked Trump on that as well, so that work on the wind farm will be able to go ahead. Both of those rulings today follow last night yet another federal court blocking Trump, this time from cutting funding to the American Academy of Pediatrics. This is a doctors group, a pediatricians group that criticized the flock of ducks level insane quackery at Trump's Department of Health and Human Services under RFK Jr. Trump responded by canceling federal grants for the American Academy of Pediatrics. A judge has now ruled that that was illegal retaliation, and so Trump is blocked from doing that. That funding has to be reinstated. That ruling comes after another federal judge just blocked Trump from cutting off federal election funds to states in retaliation for them not changing their election rules in ways that Trump wants. The judge said, quote, "The Constitution assigns no authority to the president over federal election administration." And so Trump got blocked on that one, too. Shall I keep going? I could keep going. Another federal court just blocked Trump from freezing billions of dollars for childcare and social services for kids, again, in Democratic-run states as some kind of punishment against those states for electing Democrats, punishing them for that by cutting off the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families program. Because, what would Jesus do? Trump was also just blocked from doing that by yet another federal court. It's almost like he is losing all the time and everywhere now. There may still be people in America who are shocked that Trump keeps breaking the law over and over again, blatantly and insistently. The courts no longer appear to be shocked by that. And the courts now are just telling him no, very bluntly, every single day and often multiple times a day. And it's not even just the courts. As I know you are aware, last week in one 48-hour stretch, we had a Senate vote for a war powers resolution to block Trump from any further military adventurism in Venezuela. 5 Republican senators crossed over to side with Democrats to pass that war powers resolution. It was enough to advance that. It's going to get another vote in the Senate this week. That came right on the heels of 17 Republicans in the House breaking ranks with Trump and siding with Democrats on the Affordable Care Act to try to at least temporarily undo the disastrous decision Trump and Republicans made in their so-called Big Beautiful Bill, the decision to send tens of thousands of American families' health insurance rates through the roof. 17 Republicans crossed over, defied Trump, and joined with Democrats to pass that health care matter in the House. Now it's going to come to the Senate. Trump is now whining about how he might have to veto it if and when it passes in the Senate as well, because he definitely wants to make sure that people's health insurance premiums double or triple in cost for nothing other than something that he personally did. He apparently wants that. I mean, what we've just seen in Congress is one of the worst rebukes Trump has had from congressional Republicans since he has been back in office this whole disastrous year. And I got to tell you, this didn't get as much attention as it should, but right on the heels of that biggest rebuke that Trump has had in Congress, those series of decisions, both in the House and the Senate, Republicans crossing over to join with Democrats to rebuke Trump on multiple policy issues, right on the heels of the Senate giving Trump a one-finger salute on Venezuela and the House giving him a one-finger salute on what he did to people's health insurance. This did not get enough attention, but did you see this? Look, headline, Congress is rejecting Trump's steep budget cuts to science. Lead, Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs that President Trump called for last year. Trump is trying to cut the National Science Foundation 56%. Congress is now saying they will cut it less than 1%. Trump wanted to slash NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. You know, the weather. Congress's budget for NOAA is no cuts to NOAA, flat funding for NOAA. Trump wants to cut basic research, which has been the lifeblood of American technological innovation since World War II. Trump wants to cut basic research more than 33%. Congress instead is bumping up their budget, bumping up the budget for basic research by more than 2%. Trump is demanding all these cuts to science, and Congress is saying no, and this is a bipartisan thing. This started in the Senate as a bipartisan agreement. Last week, the House voted for it as well. I know it's like muscle memory to assume, A, that Congress does nothing, and B, if they ever defy that rule and do something, it's always something bad. But that is changing a little bit here. And it's changing all against Trump. And Republicans in the House are down to such a slim margin there now that if every Democrat is present, at the moment, Republicans can only afford one defection on any given vote. They can only give up one Republican vote in the House and still pass things that their leadership supports. And they know they're going to get walloped in the midterms. And with moderate Democrat Mary Peltola announcing today that she's going to run against the unpopular Republican Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan, that means that Democrats are getting pretty close to a shot at taking over the Senate in the midterms as well. They've got a shot at taking over the Senate in addition to the near certainty that they will take over the House. We've got the courts pushing back harder and harder, and now apparently losing that sense of shock they had that the administration really is just blatantly breaking the law all the time. The courts are finally getting it and pushing back and seeming to understand what it is they're up against. We've got the Congress, believe it or not, in some ways pushing back, while simultaneously Republicans are losing any hope of hanging on to power in Congress. It looks like the Democrats will be taking over.